Hey guys, welcome back. We have another exciting unboxing. Today we've got the Astell&Kern collaboration with Empire Ears, the Novus. So without further ado, let's just break this thing open and see what's inside. They always do a really nice box at Empire Ears, so I'm really excited about this. Not that I'm gonna be using the box much, but ooh, I like the presentation. Look how that scrolls up. For $5,000, it better be a nice presentation. Very nice looking, very nice. We've got over here on the right, a box of accessories. I would imagine this is gonna be all your wonderful tips. Here is an adapter, because I guess the stock cable is gonna have a 4.4 on it, so this is to convert it to 3.5. That's really nice. That's a beefy connector right there. That's gonna take some abuse. Nice tips, cleaning, I can't remember what the hell they call that, brush, pick, whatever you want to call it. You've got your warranty information. Nice little, not a credit card, but a serial numbered card. And a nice cleaning cloth. These don't look to be as fingerprint magnets as the Ravens, but cool that they included that. Let's pop this open. Yes, like I said, 4.4, very nice. And I like that they put plastic on here to protect it in transit so it doesn't get scuffed up. At this price point, you want your stuff to look sexy as can be. Very flexible. I like the cable so far. Very flexible. Let's get these babies out. Make sure to be gentle, don't pull them out by the wires. Oh wow, if you can see the three-dimensional triangles all over the place. That is really cool looking. Nice gold trim. The Empire Ears logo on one side, Astell&Kern logo on the other. So the Astell will be the left side and the Empire will be the right side. Let's see what else we have in here. Guessing operating instructions. Not that it's really difficult to figure out how to put some IEMs in your ear and plug them in, but that's kind of cool anyway. And then, oh, I love their hockey pucks. Listen to that. Love that. Very nice. This one's much beefier than any of the past ones. I've got a whole collection of these in my drawer from all the different companies. I love these. They are so cool, and they will really protect your IEMs, so when you throw them in a bag, you know, the problem with the leather cases is they get squished, you know, with all your stuff that are in your bags. This keeps it really hardened and protected. I'm really excited. I did get to listen to these for a few minutes at the Munich show. I can't say that I put them through their paces. I listened to them enough to know I like what I'm hearing. I'm gonna burn these in overnight. I'm gonna step away. I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna give you my thoughts and impressions on these IEMs. Stay tuned, we'll be right back in a minute.
3 days later.
Hey, so welcome back. We've had a chance now to listen to the Novus IEMs, and me and Kayla are here to talk about our impressions of how they sound and what we really got really excited about. So tell me about what you heard.
So I actually really loved the Novus IEMs. So I am a Warman musical listener through and through. I love big bass. I love heavy hitting, high energy, dynamic sounds. Naturally, I kind of gravitate away from analytical sounding IEMs and headphones. So the Novus was right up my alley. I have to say personally that it kind of reminded me of Empire Ears Raven IEMs. Those were limited edition. So if you go on their website, you won't see them, but we do have some in stock. So if you are curious about the Raven, we have a review, which you can find linked in the description below. The Novus was engaging. Oh, yeah. It was dynamic. But I felt like details still came through. Oh, yeah. It had nice bass extension, but it wasn't like overly bloated. Now, I mean, if you're gonna listen to hip hop and EDM, you are gonna get a crazy banging bass. But I didn't feel like it was lacking on the details front.
Yeah, I mean, they really check a lot of the boxes. I'm gonna make a bold statement. I've listened to a ton of IEMs in my lifetime. Going back to, man, I can't even think of some of the old school IEMs, but I had some of the original West Tones and Ultimate Ears way back in the day, customs that is, and I've had lots of universals as well. I'm gonna put this in a top 5 all-time IEM, without a doubt. I know that's a bold statement, but I truly believe that this is one of the greatest IEMs to come out. The disappointing part is it's a limited edition. Empire Ears, I sure hope you're gonna craft a version of this for permanent release on your website, because this is a phenomenal IEM. It does build upon the Raven, which we've got a couple of Ravens left. I've only got new in box at this point, so we can't open this up, but I did a really long, great review on the Ravens. And the key thing about what's going on in Empire Ears is they just keep refining, okay? So this is this the 3rd or the 4th implementation of the bone conduction, right? They had the Legend Evo, they had the Ravens. I know there's probably another one in there I'm missing that did bone conduction. And this is the, this is the final, well, not final, but the next generation of bone conduction. Incredibly balanced from top to bottom. And I did a lot of comparisons to the Odin, because really the Odin has been our bestseller for Empire Ears, of all time, to be totally honest. It's an amazing IEM, but like she said, I think the Odin gravitates more towards the audiophile listener. It's very clean, controlled, balanced, but in a different balanced way. You don't have as much of the musicality, I think, that you get with the Novus.
Yeah.
The Odin is not bright and forward at all. How I would characterize it, is when I listened to the 2 IEMs, the Odin sounded, I guess, I don't want to use the word compressed, but the sound circle that IEMs produce around your head, not way out past your head, because they're IEMs, it seemed more enclosed. And I'd never noticed that before, because I really didn't have anything, honestly, during this time period, the last couple of years, that I like better than the Odin, honestly. And so this one has a bigger presentation, and it's a deeper presentation. Everything, the Odin stuff is a little more forward, and I'm not in a bright way. It's just closer to my brain sensors, if you will, right? But when you get to the Novus, things open up, they sort of sit back a little bit, a little more, I don't want to use the word relax, but in comparison to the Odin, it's a little more relaxed sounding, but the resolution, detail, and the air, the air, I think that's where Empire Ears is really making strides. There's this physical energy that you're feeling from the sound now, whether it's the electrostatic drivers they're using, or the bone conduction, or I don't know, because there are a lot of similarities between the drivers. Well, in terms of the number of drivers between the Odin and the Novus, there's 13 drivers, same amount of subwoofers. We're using 4 electrostatic drivers. They're using some proprietary new mid-ranges that I think are probably the difference maker between the Odin and this. Quite frankly, I don't know if the electrostatic tweeters are the same or they're tweaking it. I have a feeling maybe they're doing a lot more work on the crossover design. I mean, crossovers are very complex, and they can really change what each one of the drivers are doing. So, absolutely stellar IEM. How much better is it than the Raven? Honestly, I think the Raven and the Novus are a little bit 2 different IEMs, okay? I listen to a lot of EDM too as well. I listen to everything, okay? I listen to jazz, Americana, but I love EDM. I would say that I would listen more to EDM on the Novus. Yeah. Not that we're gonna shoehorn this into, this IEM is for rap and EDM and pop and dance. But if I got to pick a couple of points, I would listen to these more for EDM. Whereas the Raven, if you go back to my review, the slam and attack was much better for like rock and roll, like AC/DC and stuff like that. The kick drums and stuff like that were just ridiculous. Yeah, the Novus will do fine with rock and roll, but
heavy hitting.
Yeah. And everything is more coherent in the Novus. Everything, I really can't tell between the drivers where one's dropping off and another one's taking over. The balance the linearity of the drivers is just stellar in this.
Yeah, I agree. I like the word that you used to describe it, refined. Because I actually got a chance to listen to these and do a written blog review, which you can also find linked in our description, and that was the exact phrase that I used. I felt that the Novus was just a more refined version of the Ravens. It took everything that was great about the Ravens, big, bold presentation, and just refined it. Just made it more musical, not as heavy hitting. I felt like it was a little more versatile genre-wise. I felt like there was a couple more genres that I could just enjoy with the Novus, whereas with the Raven, certain songs, I don't want to say bloated, but the presentation one was almost too big for my liking. And as a bass head, to be honest, that kind of says a lot. But just, yeah, I was really impressed with the Novus. And for its price point, it is worth every penny. And there are plenty of IEMs that get priced super high. They get flagship level status, and you know, they just don't live up to those expectations. But the Novus, I mean, ooh, we want more. Don't make it a limited edition IEM. It's so awesome. Like, put it on the catalog forever. Like, it's such a good IEM. I'm excited to kind of see what Empire Ears continues to do with IEMs. And it's very Empire Ears-esque.
Anybody too. This is an Astell&Kern product, but it was created by Empire Ears. Collaboration. Yes. Yeah, so let's make sure we get that straight.
Yeah, so you can see some nods to Empire Ears design. You can see Astell&Kern's nods as well in the shape. Overall, it was a great IEM. I mean, if I had anything bad to even try to say about it, it would just be fit and comfort, but that's just because I have small ears. So most IEMs aren't comfortable for me.
In fact, let's talk about the shell. So, you know, they're using a composite material where, you know, a lot of people are starting to do 3D printing and whatnot. And while the IEM is on the larger size, what I can notice is it didn't feel large in my ears to me in terms of the bulkiness. It's extremely light, right? Let's take a step back a couple of years when Astell&Kern did a collaboration with Jerry Harvey, and they did the Full Metal Jacket IEMs, which were blingy, right? They were made out of titanium or aluminum, and they were highly polished and whatnot. They were about the same size, and they were really heavy. I mean, they sounded fantastic, but the weight was just too much, and I couldn't stand them after a while. And even compared to the Odin, which is about the same size, they're using acrylic on there, the typical old style of, you know, everybody's been doing for a long time. And now we're moving to more composites. And as composites get stronger and lighter and they develop new technologies, size is going to become irrelevant because you're not going to feel it. Like I said, I didn't feel any kind of discomfort from the size of the IEM in my ear. It didn't bother me at all. Obviously, you know, the throat of the IEM is on the large size. Empire uses a larger one because they have so many drivers. So if you've got really teeny ear canals, I can see then that be a problem. There are plenty of tips out there that you can try. They have even what's called super small. You'll see an SS.
That's what I use.
Yeah, so I mean, I used a small and a medium. I went back and forth to sort of see which one fit best to me. I could have lived with either one of them. You know, so comfort was fantastic. I had no issues whatsoever. And I hope at one point Empire Ears is going to be able to figure out how to do bone conduction in customs. I mean, the problem with customs and bone conduction requires such a unique, specialized enclosure, and to get it to, what are you doing? You're trying to vibrate the bone behind your ear here to get that oomph feeling. So it's tough for them to do in a custom, but hopefully sometime soon. Let's talk about cables. So with the Novus, honestly, I couldn't really make a perfect decision which cable I wanted to stick with between the silver and the bronze. UPOCC copper, UPOCC silver. You know, the bottom line with the Novus is it was so balanced that, you know, depending on my mood or which way I wanted to go in terms of my listening preferences, if today I was going to listen to Americana and jazz and stuff like that, I'd go with the Silver Dragon. Yeah. If I'm going to get down with some rock and roll, EDM, whatever, pop, I'd probably go with the Bronze Dragon. So they're both winners.
Yeah, I totally agree on that. I found myself kind kind of gravitating more toward the silver, but that's just because I naturally enjoy those extremely musical pop, hip hop, R&B, EDM genres that, depending on the song, like I said earlier, can be kind of heavy hitting. So I felt like the Silver Dragon just kind of cleaned that up, made it a little more resolute, kind of added some more details to it. But the Bronze Dragon adds great musicality as well. So like you said, if you are somebody who enjoys, you know, acoustic, strings, Americana, folk, jazz, the Bronze Dragon might pick up kind of some of that missing element that you get with those genres.
So if the price doesn't bother you, if you can handle it, I'm telling you, the Novus is a winner in my ears.
Yep.
and my mind. I'm definitely going to own a set without a doubt. I look forward to new and special things from Empire Ears based on where they're going. I mean, they're really pushing the envelope in terms of driver technology. It's really exciting.
Yeah, and it's always great to see two heavy-hitting companies come together to do collaborations. It's always exciting. These came out in conjunction with AK's SP3000T DAP. So, I mean, if you're looking for the ultimate high-end portable audio setup, then you know it's a match made in heaven.
Yep, because that DAP, obviously you can tailor it in two different ways, right? You've got the hybrid mode, you can do the op amp mode or the oil tube mode, so you can drastically change the sound of that DAP. So yeah, great combination DAP to go with this. Very easy to drive. You know, I didn't have any kind of characteristic load issues with any amplifier or DAP that I use. Always clean, quiet, no background hiss from, you know, IEMs being too sensitive. I used it on some Matrix audio gear in the balanced output, which, you know, there's tons of power at that point. Just, it worked on everything I tried it on. I couldn't find, you know, like I said, all the boxes were checked for me with these IEMs. So anyway, that's all I got. What do you got anything else or?
Nope, no, I think that's about it. If you do want more information on in-depth sound impressions, more information on the driver technology features, head on over to the review on our blog, linked in the bio. Check that out. Check out the Raven review as well. We also do have an Odin review and an SP3000T review. So, you know, if you're just in the market for some pretty hot portable audio gear right now, go ahead and check out all those reviews and videos on our website. Thank you guys so much for watching. We are so excited to always try new gear. We just recently also did a review on the Hi-Fi Mansuswara unveiled headphones that we just got in, so check that out too on our website, and we'll see you guys soon.
Make sure to bang that bell, subscribe, hit the like, and we'll see you guys next time.
Bye.